meet the ancestors. His paternal grandmother, Neeltke Goris, or Little Nell, had a job clearing people's houses of jumble and bric-a-brac and selling it off for a song. She was an uitdragster, someone who drags things out. Unofficially, she was a crook and small-time con artist who ran semi-legal lotteries and raffles and was often in trouble with the law. And as for Vermeer's maternal grandfather, Balthazar, he claimed to be an engineer and clockmaker, but when the police arrested him in April 1619, he was running a counterfeit coin operation with his son, Vermeer's uncle. Counterfeiting was serious stuff, a crime against the state. Was there no end, I wondered, to the lengths Vermeer's family would go to keep their heads above water? I went to see an expert on coin forgery, Cor de Graaf, who said he had something to show me that would prove that not everything was as it seemed. What do you know about Vermeer's slightly dodgy grandfather, Balthazar Gerrits?
Gerrits, yes.
Gerrits.
Well, Balthazar Gerrits was a kind of strange person. He tried to make a lot of money by all kinds of means. He was a broker for a while. He tried to sell shares of the East India Company. He tried to buy and sell houses, and he also made false coins, so coin forgery.
So he literally made some money?
He really made some money, literally, yes.
And I assume that we know about it because he got caught.
Yes, indeed he was caught, but yeah, that's also the strange thing. He managed to survive, which is very unusual for coin forgers.
Apparently, like most counterfeiters, two of his co-conspirators were tortured and then beheaded, but not Balthazar. Cor had records of meetings which show that in his case, the whole affair was hushed up at the highest level of government. Balthazar was allowed to go free.
And in Silencio.
When Balthazar came back to Delft,
yeah,
when the whole matter is sort of swept under the carpet, do you think people here would have known?
Oh yeah. Definitely, especially people in a city like this, yeah, they would have known it.
Whatever the word on the street was, the whole family was involved. Vermeer's uncle was imprisoned as a co-conspirator, and both sides of the family, including Neeltke the uitdragster, rallied round to have him bailed. Whether we should think of Balthazar as an informer, a common criminal, or even a secret agent, this would have been a grim moment in the family history. Prison and torture, it's the dark side of the 17th century Dutch free market, the other side of the coin, and it's sure as hell a far cry from Vermeer's serene interiors. I wondered if I could make sense of Vermeer as a man desperate to escape from the prison of his own dubious past. Art was to be his way out and up. He became a respectable counterfeiter, a forger not of false coins, but of reality. There may have been darkness in his family background, but he painted light. More often than not, the light is falling upon a young woman. In 1653, at the age of 21, he proposed to Catharina Bolnes, a Catholic girl from a wealthy family several rungs higher up the social ladder. It was the most important decision of his life. We know that Vermeer was baptized in the new church on October the 31st, 1632, and we know that in the town hall he declared his intention to marry Catharina Bolnes on April the 5th, 1653. But for those intervening 21 years, more or less everything about his life is a mystery. Archivally speaking, it's a void, not a single document. We don't know where Vermeer went to school, we don't know who taught him to paint. But the biggest mystery of all is how come this Protestant man, this son of a publican, with a grandfather with a criminal past, managed to seduce and even to marry a woman from a high-born Catholic family. To be a Catholic was to live part of your life in secret. It meant worship in hidden churches, town houses which were not allowed to advertise their purpose to the outside world. The Amstelkring Museum in Amsterdam is a rare surviving example of a hidden church. The truth is, we don't know how Vermeer and Catharina Bolens met, let alone where. Some think it was through a Catholic artist to whom Vermeer may have been apprenticed. But it must have been a love match, because we know that Catharina's devoutly Catholic mother initially opposed the marriage. We don't know what happened, but it's likely that in the end she struck a bargain. Convert, and Catharina can be yours. And she was. After the secular ceremony in the town hall, the couple got married in the little village of Schipleuden, just outside Delft, where there was an enclave of Catholics practicing the old faith, away from the eyes of authority, in what was probably a converted barn. So Vermeer had a new wife and a new religion. Among his earliest surviving works is Diana and Her Companions, Vermeer's only mythological scene, but a very quiet, contained moment in a story which often ends in violence against an intrusive male presence. It has clear religious overtones, the foot washing, the bowl, even the napkin, which suggests the shape of a dove, have strong Catholic and sacramental associations. It's a picture by a man who loved women, who loved to look at women and to paint them. There's a familiar Vermeer feel here, the feel of a moment of beauty, which also has a certain fragility, peace about to be disturbed. In the winter of the same year as his marriage, Vermeer registered as a master at the Guild of St. Luke in Delft. Vermeer was going up in the world. For most of the rest of his career, Vermeer would paint calm interiors, an idealized everyday life of a leisured class. But what was his own household like? I think his marriage, his domestic life, was every bit as much a creation as his paintings. As far as we can tell from the documents, when he moved with his wife's family to the Papenhoek, Papist's Corner, he seems to have left his own close-knit family behind. We know that by about 1660, Vermeer was living in a house here on the Oude Langendijk. And we know it, sadly, because he had to bury one of his children and give his address in the register. It wasn't a house that an impecunious young artist just starting out his career could have afforded to buy. It was, in fact, Vermeer's mother-in-law's house. And Vermeer, Catharina, and their increasingly large family would live for the entire period of his working career in Maria Tin's, the mother-in-law's house. It's a slightly unusual setup. And I think if we want to build up any kind of psychological profile of Vermeer, it's very important to understand the nature of his household. Here's what it wasn't. This portrait of the patrician van der Dusen family shows a wealthy Catholic household of the time. Everything in it speaks of opulence. Note the many paintings on the wall. And harmony, hence the music making. But the home which Vermeer shared with Catharina and her mother Maria Tins didn't quite fit this 17th century cornflake box ideal. Apart from its potential for mother-in-law jokes, it had its own skeletons in the closet. For unlike this little girl, Vermeer's wife, Catharina, had grown up in a house in which she was regularly woken by the sound not of music, but of her parents fighting. A world in which she sometimes feared for her life.